Okay, PJNet Live on Tuesday night with Del Didway in our green room standing by. Cameras aimed, rolling in focus. We are streaming on all available platforms. And we will switch to Studio 6 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, welcome to PJNet Live on Tuesday night, and many of us look forward to Del Didway, who always does the little selfie promo video that I like so much, and he's getting a lot of views on those, and loving it. And he and I both got back recently from the Ohio Christian Writers Conference. Del's blog is out. Del, your blog's a little different today.
Yeah. Obviously, we talked a little bit about the conference and the impact it has on some folks. And it was good to see you and good to meet Sunbelt Girl up there. That was awesome. Great. It was a great surprise.
It was great to have her along. She has been right there at all times. The only time she's missed, she was in the hospital, and it was just great to have her along. And she did a great job handling the subjects that came in and making them comfortable and at ease. But at the same time, she kind of reminds me of you because she was pitching. I'm glad she does.
Yeah. She has a very soothing quality about her. It was very nice to meet her and appreciate her support.
Well, Del, you're not there just as an attendee. You're faculty, but you are also married to the conference manager, so that creates some extra stress, doesn't it?
Ain't stress. No, we actually work pretty well together, and she knows what Kyle wants and Bethany wants, and it's just a matter of getting everything to go smoothly, which most of the time it does, but sometimes there's a little some little obstacles to overcome, just like, for instance, when the one attendee, Emily, who was there, who was very great, all of our classes were upstairs. She's handicapped, so we had to do some adjusting within a half an hour of the conference starting because we didn't know that. So we had to find a room, move all the AV down to that room. So everything will run smoothly, but Angie does a good job.
And, that church is just a nice little church. Where did you all, intersect with Pastor PJ? Because I didn't get to talk to him much, but he said he was bivocational in construction or something.
Yeah, Pastor PJ, he last year he was there the whole time. His wife was there, the whole group. So he had a wedding to attend to this weekend. Mm-hmm. But we know him. He knows our pastor, but we know him through a family that we go to church with whose daughter grew up in our church and then moved to Columbus with her husband, and they go to that church. So we had a common alliance there. So we reached out, and when Kyle was wanting to find a location in Columbus, we thought, let's just reach out to the Teresa's and put us in contact with PJ. Of course, we knew PJ, and he was very willing and opened his church free of charge and just helped us tremendously. So awesome church.
It was almost a replay of last time. I'm first one there. Gate is closed, doors are locked, and it was snowing, or trying to anyway. But I called, and he called right back and told me the combination to get in, or to get in the gate anyway. And he was there shortly thereafter, and we set up. We had some new equipment, and I was a little nervous about that. So we spent 7 hours setting up, and we about closed that one down Saturday night, but then, or Thursday night, I guess it was. But and we encountered a 3-hour delay on the way up there. I have no idea. But once all that got behind us and things, the doors opened at 8 o'clock, just like last time, I start meeting some incredible people. And, I hate to start naming names because someone's going to get left out, but at the same time, you can't help but love the experience of going to a Christian Writer Conference. Now, I don't have anything to compare it with. I've only been to the Serious Writer Conferences. But here's some takeaways I have, is that it's much more personal. You get to interact with people. And the way they do the classes is you're kind of free to come and go, and you even announce that. You can drift in, hang out a little while, and then drift out and go to the other class. So you don't have to give up one class to be at the other. I don't know if that's normal or not.
Well, yeah, it's kind of normal, and all that's why all the sessions are taped, because and people can get them, but they sign up for appointments all throughout the day to talk to agents and
Mm-hmm.
publishers. So if they have an appointment at 10:30, and it happens to be during my class, then yeah, get up and leave and go to that appointment. So and it's the norm with the Christian reading conferences. I mean, yeah, I like they're all good. The Blue Ridge Mountain Christian Writer Conference is enormous, and you've got several hundred people there
Mm-hmm.
going to it. So there's a lot of people getting up and leaving. But those are great. I like the small intimate ones too, like the ones we have with the Serious Writer. So there's benefits to both. And if you've never been to a conference, you might want to start out with a smaller venue to get acclimated as to what you need to do. Because if you go to a big one, it's very easily become overwhelmed and lost in the shuffle. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a great starting point. It's a great way to practice your pitches. It's a great way to network, and it's a great way to encourage. I was encouraged up there. I go to teach and have my sections, have my appointments, and I do my best to encourage. And they want to know my journey and how I did it. So I tell them how I did it, and I tell them you can do the same thing. This can happen to you, but you have to work at it. You can't just expect it to fall in your lap.
I was doing some filming of the little sessions that you have with the editors, publishers, agent, you
Mm-hmm.
name it. And I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but what the heck do you talk about during those things?
Well, like for instance, for Kyle, he's an agent, so authors are pitching ideas to him, and they want them to represent him. So they're asking for them to represent him, or they're pitching a book idea to see if he'd be interested in taking it to a publishing house. If they're talking to an editor, you're pitching your work to them and getting ideas about how to improve their writing or what adjustments to make. If they're talking to authors like myself, they're wanting some suggestions on how to build your platform, or how to submit to an agent, or how to talk to a publisher, things like that. So it's just, and Hope there is an agent, so they're pitching to her about, here's my idea, Hope. Don't you see where you could represent me for this? So they're all trying to get something out of this conference, whether it be learning, or whether it be a contract, or whether it be represented, or I've seen contracts, book contracts given at conferences. Publishers will sign them right there. So it's an opportunity that it doesn't happen often, but it can happen. So they're there to learn, and they're there to make connections, and they're there to get that next step.
Well, the entire experience, me not being a writer, I don't know I don't know how I fit into these things, but I'm there to basically advocate, promote, and encourage.
Mm-hmm.
But to do that, I have to work. I'm working. So while the keynotes are going on, a lot of times I'm taking a break or doing some work or whatever. But I'm starting to watch some of the film that we took, and some pretty darn good keynote speeches.
Yeah, and Kyle touched on the children's market during one of them, and he also talked his opening session was about having your identity, finding your identity as a writer, finding your identity as a child of God. So it's all was built around identity and who are you and what are you trying to do, and it all centers back. The main focus of these conferences is always to have a meaningful worship time and give God all the glory for everything, because without Him we wouldn't be there. So that's the main priority. Then the other priority is to help and to encourage and provide an avenue where these writers can be encouraged, or they can win an award, or they can get that contract, or they can just network, or they can make new friends. So it's all about what you want to accomplish out of the conferences. And my goal always is to network and just to make my circle bigger. So that's one of my main priorities.
Well, everybody is so friendly, and you keep using the word encouragement. So let's go to your blog for a moment. Your blog deals with you, and you were pretty transparent. Folks, there's times we all get discouraged, but we can't just call time out, can we?
No, you have to go. I'm not one of those folks that woe is me, and I go up and shake your hand and say, Mark, man, I'm having a rough time, and be a downer. So you don't do that, but you don't hide it at the same time. But I don't want to bring other people down. But yeah, I was going through. That was a tough weekend for me. So, but nobody knew it. But I let it out. I let it out through my writing. That's there's how I get it out. And it's and I find strength sometimes when you don't complain to others, but just like in my writing, I tell others, and that helps me get stronger. And I bring out incidents where I was encouraged, like that young man who sent me that email from Colorado. That encouraged me greatly, and it really came at a good time.
Well, there's two things when I think of encouragement. I think of affirmation, and there is a universal hunger for affirmation. Everybody needs it. I don't care how strong they can pretend to be. Deep down inside, we all need to know that we're okay and that we are worthwhile to somebody. And given that, it's a ministry that everybody can do. It costs nothing to offer a word of sincere encouragement and affirmation.
Yeah, you can smile, you can encourage, you can say hi, thank you. Little things like that matter, and if you get in the habit of doing that, you can encourage somebody's day. Just like I think you heard, I don't know if you were in there or not when Rhonda spoke on stage. Last year she was ready to quit and give up. Mm-hmm. Enters a contest, wins the Writer of the Year award. We fly her to New York. We bring her into dinner and give her a few days in New York City. So that's pretty good affirmation.
And she rebounded, and there's so many people there, and the interests are so varied. I remember one guy is a beekeeper, and
it gave me some honey.
Yeah, the last day he's out giving out these things, and he says, "Oh, you made this?" And he'd say, "No, the bees made it. I just stole
it." yeah, he was a good guy, good man. So. Yeah, and you get, I'll be surprised, I'll start getting some cards roll in, which is great. But we made some fantastic hikes. It encourages me because I'm just sitting there trying to, when they come see me in my sessions, just tell them my experience and to tell them to keep going. And then they always tell me that, hey, what you told me was what I was needing to hear. And that makes you feel good.
Have you ever had an awkward moment where you felt like that somebody was really on the wrong track, and you do want to be encouraging, but at the same time, what do you say? Gee, the margins in your presentation, the font looks real nice. I mean, you ever find yourself struggling to encourage someone?
Yeah, yes, but you do it the right way. There's a right way, and there's I have to be honest with them too. I mean, there's one person we know pretty well. About a year ago, she was just demoralized. She went to a conference, not our conference, but she went to a conference and paid for a critique. And this person just basically said, you have no business doing this stuff. It's terrible. And, really demoralized this person. And then, so if you find a way to, find out what they want to do, encourage them to keep going, but also encourage them to explore other options and really find your talent. It might not be in writing, it might be in editing, or it might be in some type of storytelling, or it might be sending out cards of encouragement, that writing that way. So you always try to find an avenue and encourage them to keep going. But if their writing needs help, then you instruct them where to find professional editing help to, some classes to take to help their writing. So, yeah, we've been in that position where I wanted to say, this is awful. But I just say, hey, have you considered, starting over, forgetting everything and starting completely over and taking this class or this course and really seeing if this is what you want to do. But there's other avenues to take. So, and then lay those out for them. So there's good ways to do it, wrong ways to do it. You have to be honest with them, but you also have to offer other alternatives and encourage them to go down those roads as well.
Well, I always get a kick out of the church staff. In fact, speaking of encouragement, I was talking to Barbara on the way back. I said, I think I want to write a handwritten letter to Pastor PJ and thank him for making his church available. And it's not just, there's a building, go occupy it. No, they take an active part. For example, I've got a bunch of gear, and one of the boxes that holds most of it weighs about 200 pounds. And if I don't have any help, I have to basically unload the box to lighten it up, put the box in the back of the truck, and then put everything back. Well, their audio guy, I was somewhat disappointed. He wasn't going to be there until the morning, an hour before the doors open. And I like to get things set up. But once, his name was Kyle. Young man, he said, sir, he said, thank you. He found ways to be of help, and he did a great job. I was very pleasantly surprised when it was all over. I go up to the sound booth, and he's already packed up the stuff that I had up there and had it set aside. So, I mean, this is an outstanding young man. The kitchen help. Did you stop by the kitchen a little bit? There were like 4 ladies in there. They had my own coffee mug for me every day. So yeah. they made the coffee. Let me take a quick tour down the chat room, Dale. Becky Lindsay is here. By the way, Becky, put that name on your radar because you're going to be seeing and hearing more of Becky on PJNet Live. She is now our recruiter to get talent on our programs. Hazards 4 is here. Hazards, thank you so much for carrying the water while we were on the road, and appreciate that. Norma Knowles Poor is here with us tonight. Norma, we are so glad to see you. Rachel Colby is here from, well, where is she from? From the East Coast somewhere, up there somewhere. And of course, today. Yeah, you did. And Sunbelt Girl is here. Tammy from Georgia. And there's some people that are not logged in, hanging out in the balcony. Hey, up there. How you doing? So, but I was very encouraged. We had more gear. We had more lights. The people, there was really only one that I had to kind of drag by her hair, kicking and screaming. Most everybody was real excited about the opportunity. Plus, I don't know who did the little PowerPoint presentation, but I was delighted when I found out that you actually announced, hey, PJNet's doing this. And I think that made things a lot easier for me. Yeah. I mean, it puts everybody who doesn't know you at ease. Like, this guy's for real. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a good, that also getting the testimonials always helps. And then, popping into my classes, I want to thank you for doing that and not causing a big disturbance. So we had a good time. And so I had some good classes. Really, really enjoyed it. Had some good feedback, some good participation, and nobody kicked me out. So that's the whole thing. Well, and I've got 95 shots, basically, of what we call B-roll. In other words, I went around to the classes to, just scenery. And I've got to produce all that down into various moments. Now, one of the things that we're going to do this year is I'm not going to just waste all that footage. I'm going to compile it and put it in our public folder so that the participants can go download. This is sort of a memento of their participation. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, it seems forever, but there's another conference coming up in March.
Yeah, March 5th, 6th, 7th in Liberty, North Carolina, the North Carolina Christian Writers Conference. Andy Clapp's church. They're in Liberty. Andy came up for a day. Did was a tremendous help to us. He just ran errands for us and just was a service. He ran up there at the conference and got the food that was donated from Roadhouse and Chick-fil-A and some cake. So it was awesome. But yeah, March 5th, 6th, 7th in Liberty, North Carolina. So be on the lookout for that. That's right down the road. And then in May, we're doing a one-day conference in New York City during the book expo. That's going to through the gentleman we met at the conference last weekend. They're going to host us in for one day when we go to Manhattan for a one-day tour stop. So it'll be a lot of fun.
It's high-powered. I actually took a significant detour to visit with Pastor Andy Clapp. And it was his wife's birthday, and it turns out the night before, his college roommate had committed suicide. So in spite of all those distractions, Andy and I spent several hours together drinking much coffee and strategizing the future of PJNet Live, which will, by the way, become PJNet.tv in the very near future. So, and
we're excited to be a part of that. That's awesome.
I can't wait. And with all the contacts we just made, and we've got Becky. Becky's always been a great team player. But I had a nice chat with her. I had about a 10 or 11 hour drive to my first stop, and it's like, I wish all these people that call me when I'm busy would call me now.
Well, you can also talk to Becky about writing, about spiritual things. She's one of the best. If I need somebody to pray for me, I call Becky, because she has the gift of prayer. She really does, and I wish I could pray like she does. But you can also talk football with her. She's a big Steelers fan, so she knows all about football. So loves the Steelers.
Well, they're better than being a Bengal. It's better.
Oh my gosh, I was down there Sunday, and that was brutal. It was just, I had to be. And I had some really good interviews after the game with some players from Baltimore. The one gentleman who's in my current issue of First Down Devotions. Mm-hmm. He's the long snapper, right?
Uh-huh.
And I go up, and when I interviewed him the first time, I walked up to him after the game, and I said, "You got a second?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm the long snapper. Nobody ever wants to talk to me." And so we had a good conversation, and he remembered me, and I showed him the book. He said, "Oh, this is awesome!" And so he was really touched by it. And he said he was gonna make a tweet about it. He was gonna put it out, to tell all of his friends about it. So. And then, Morgan Cox with the Baltimore Ravens. So, and then we had a couple other conversations. Will be in Volume 2. So we had a great, good. It was worth the trip. It was worth sitting through those 3 hours of just brutal football to get to talk to a couple of players. And of course, we have the Gold Short Chili at halftime. So that makes it all worth it.
Well, there's several positions in a football game that never get noticed until something goes terribly wrong. One, the officials. Okay, the officials. Yeah. The best result is for them to leave and no one notices. That's a good game for them. The other one is in the defensive secondary, because once you have a long pass, it's you and that other guy. And you have a chance to be a hero or a zero. I mean, there's no in-betweens. And the other one is the long snapper. Nobody notices the long snapper until
he messes up. And that's one of the first things he told me. He said, "Nobody ever wants to talk to me unless I mess up."
Right.
So he's like, "That's the way I like it. I like being under the radar." So he was a good guy to talk to. We've become friends with him. And his name's Morgan Cox. He's in one of the chapters of First Down Devotions. So you have to grab that and read that chapter.
There you go. Well, I'll tell you what, Dale, we're out of time again, and in fact, we've gone over a little bit. Any travels? What's going on between now and when we meet again?
Oh, between now and when we meet again, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going on next week. I know that I'll be going up to got a long drive this weekend. We have to broadcast a high school football game.
Oh, they
Saturday
won?
Night, we got back Saturday night and called that game. It's freezing cold right now. It's 18 degrees here in Ohio. So so they're going up north Saturday night and broadcasting that game, and then I got some edits I have to get done, and then start another book. So I have to get some edits done by Thanksgiving, and then in December start another manuscript. So I've taken about a week or so off and of writing books. Just want to edit, get the book Kyle and I wrote. We have to get those edits done by Thanksgiving, and we'll know by the 25th. I have a book launch on the 25th as well. I have a book out that's going to debut on the 25th. So we're excited about that. Then in December 1, we'll start with my next for Dugout Devotions Volume 2.
Oh, well, I've got a lot of production to do, and I guess that cycle will start tonight, but in any event, we're going to have to wrap it up. Dale, I want to thank you for all that you have done for PJNet, but for me as well. I have never, well, I won't say I've never, but I'm saying it's a very special bond that PJNet shares with the Serious Writer Conferences. And Dale, you have been the facilitator, you've been greasing the skids, and you have opened doors for us that I believe is God ordained. And I just appreciate your brother as a brother in Christ, as a friend, and as a professional. You're a real champ.
Well, I am kind of greasy, so that's good.
Well, What we'll do is we're going to let you get back to work. I'm going to get back to work. Hey, how about let's do. That's what I meant. I'll tell you what. Let's do this again next week, and I bet you'll have something to talk about by then.
I'm sure I will. We'll have a good time. So we'll be in touch soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dale.
Thank you.
Well, you were here on PJNet Live, or maybe you're watching this in the recording. I don't care either way. Glad you're here, but you have just had about 20 minutes with the world's most interesting man. This guy, I don't know what he burns for fuel, but he is going constantly. And thanks for all of you who dropped in the chat room. Thanks for those of you who retweet the promotional videos that Dell makes and that I make and that others make. Tomorrow night we're going to have a first-time guest. Lori Hayes will be here, and she is super excited. She's taking this very seriously. She's even bought a green screen to do her promo videos. She's called me about 3 times or hit me up on Facebook Messenger tonight. She is really excited about that, and I hope you'll make your plans to be here tomorrow night about the same time, about 9. She comes on at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on PJNet Live.